What was?
Yeah. What was that thing? I think I lost that thought where to go. I know.
What was that thing they said about revolution?
Freedom.
Talking about.
Was it mental pollution or was it the solution?
Freedom.
Can we even tell till
What
we
was that
try?
they said about?
Till we try.
What was that?
Freedom.
Just let it be alive.
What was that?
Freedom.
What is?
What was that they said about revolution mind? Don't you know? Don't get confusion. All the things that I like to do, the things that I think about. Don't you know that you make me want to stand up and shout? I'll get up on this mic and rock this shit right, cause my beats are always on time. So let me come on and get on this rhyme. Mind confusion, don't get confused about the things that they want to do, things that they want to sell, things that they got to sell. Come on, y'all, don't sell your soul because I'm here. Y'all, come on, don't sell your soul to freedom.
Keep your mind on the prize. You know and I know it's so easy now. Just keep your mind on the prize. Keep your mind. It's so easy now. Easy now. Easy now. It's so easy now. He took a dive. Oh no. Somebody let the monkey out. That was wild.
What's up? What's this? What's happening?
Something new,
Something.
something. Go, baby. It's so good. It's so good. Thank you. That was an experiment, and I loved it. How did it work? Was it good?
What's
It worked?
up?
Right.
What has happened to our world? What's up?
What's Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I don't know. Where's that world anyway? Did it go somewhere?
Give you ideas. You work.
She's trying to feed me ideas. Yeah, I've got a speechwriter here.
I feel them through this tribal beat. I feel them with the shaking of your feet and the funk in the air. Say burning up the air, but we don't care. This is revolution, this is freedom, and this is what I feel. Y'all don't know nothing about this, but this is real. All we feel is love. All we know is smiles. We see pain outside. That's after a while, that's not in here, all this is love. Anyone comes after me, that's just love for my family, y'all are my family. I feel the beat in my chest, bumping like a beatbox. It's coming, it ain't gonna stop. My man, come on. Mercy, 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 mercy me. Mercy, 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 mercy me. Mercy, mercy me, let my mind get free. Come on, God, don't you know I hit the flow? You sit and think about the things that I know. I'll sit back and study calculus, cause it's the way that my people bust, they built their shit, was the first to have their own the land. They used to make a river out of sand. They sat in the middle of a lake, don't you know, with Cortez trying to roll with his flow. He took over this and he took over that. He made a Mexica and he was real fat. He cut his throat with a knife made of sage. Don't you know, he put him in the daze. He talked about the things that were me, my genealogy is all that I got left, don't you know? My Scorpio is signed, that's my birth, don't you know? Born under a full moon, conceived under two. That's why I just got a flow that's blue.
All it takes is one person. Feel the rhythm. We all follow. We all follow him to the ocean. We all fall in. Naked. All it takes is one person. watching TV on Friday night. We're not out paying $7 to go watch a movie. We're sitting here making our own song, making our own rhythm. That's what it's about. When you say revolution, that's revolution right there. It all builds up. Yeah. People talking. Everyone needs to be talking. Everyone needs to feel it, you know? You're part of the group. I don't know.
Why do I do the things I do for you? Why do I wait up all hours of the night for you? Why whenever I hold you there's nothing else to be found? Why whenever I'm near, I only need to hear one sound? Your beautiful voice constantly rings in my ears. Whenever I'm near you, I have no fears. Being around you, wanting to touch you, hold you, caress your skin. And then I think, why? Why all these things from someone I don't know? Why want all these if one day you're going to go? Why think about you knowing you don't think about me? Why dream a million dreams about wanting to kiss you when I know not even in a million years that it will come true? If I could just for 1 second look you straight in the eyes. Someday maybe I will find someone like you, someone that will care for me as much as I do them. To think maybe one day it will come true. But as each day goes on, it feels like a mirage. People who seem right and always end up wrong. People who have more interest in making themselves happy than others. People who look for what's in your wallet rather than what's in your heart. For some who read this, you know it's true. For those who don't believe, because the person might be you. so this is why I wrote this. Voice your frustration. They don't believe in segregation. My proclamation is proclaim the same name, same game. A price of fame, it all comes to shame. Once you give up your beliefs and believe what they say, you'll end up another trick from around the way. That always tries to come up and never gets no play. I hate all these people saying that they don't give a fuck, trying to come up pressing their luck. They're just wannabes, they want to be this and they want to be that. But every time they come out whack. Fuck that, they should go home and play with their bat.
Yeah.
It's the 39th chapter of my life, The Invisible Wife. Explicit thoughts that impale the auditory apparatus. Seeking what you see, the moment of the G's. The elements of pizza, picture dismissed, wine pattern heading west. Esotericisms that subjugate human ability. Motion pictures of nonsense, deep, heartfelt admiration. Soul climbing celestial boundaries. Change the junglist dancer. Tim the swan singer in verbalist transit. Powered by Voltron. Eating gastronomic fast food. Racing clear meaning of life. Reconnaissance. Whose theory shall we give glory? Nonsense in a world with no spiritual sense. Dogmatic nuisance, wild flavor. Jesus Christ our Savior. Non-stop substance, food substance. Non-stop sustenance, food substance, raw. Funny when the time comes. Noise is fundamental to the beat of the traveling drum. Word symbols lost over the tiny human decoder. We never become failures, and he who strengthens us. Profane vision on the effable perspective. Timid behavior on stress. The family session, wow, the meaning is now gone.
Is a pursuit of civilization. Speed and isolation became the illusion of luxury in our era of urbanized civilization. Seclusion no longer represents self-discovery so much as it signifies our crass regards for human life. Somehow, the amazement of how beautiful human beings are became under-prioritized by technology. Even old concepts of peace are typically unknown or unmentioned. For example, serenity could sometimes be translated into a world without void. That every molecule is tangled around every molecule, and every person is intertwined with care and love. A kind of peace could be derived by seeing this, but today our surrounding anonymous others have been taken for granted in the name of trivial things. Commuting, for example, we sacrifice the idea of living locally to our working environments so we may live in comfort and perhaps even status. Meanwhile, maintaining such a lifestyle finds car lane placement more valuable than courtesy and demands a kind of disconnection to take place. Perhaps someone has committed an act of impatience towards you, or vice versa, because either of you didn't want to be 10 minutes late. 20 to 50 minutes a day of this may jade your mood for an hour, but a lifetime of it has the possibility of altering how you perceive your world. The reasons as to why I believe this occurs other than the pursuit of time is that cars influence our sense of connectedness. Ask yourself this question. Would you flip off another man if you were commuting in a flow of horses and riders? Cars give people the power to escape situations or acts which would most indefinitely be liable to consequences. Instead of reacting with stress, hate, or depression, we should pity those who lack the emotional maturity of exercising courtesy. My emphasis in this theory, however, is not about etiquette or courtesy. My intention surrounds a demand for using technology without letting it, in a sense, use us. The intention of technology was to supply our lives with free time and less effort. The actual effect is that leisure has been replaced with the speeding up of how we spend time and perceive its value. While when we do find time to experience leisure, it becomes appallingly clear of how quick and palatable our world must be. Perhaps you disagree with this statement, so I'll refrain from using the cliché examples of television. How much do you hate waiting in line, or any amount of time spent waiting, when it obviously wouldn't benefit you by worrying? How long do you spend looking at art? How much self-fulfillment do you receive when making a yellow light? How many times have you clicked upon the closed-door buttons of an elevator to speed up your journey, while the other obvious option is to use the stairs?
Again, I'm not saying saving time and effort is deplorable. I'm only trying to show people what they take for granted and what they lost with the birth of major 20th century advancements. The question which probably stirs in your head right now is, what about communication? Doesn't the ability to speak across the globe bring us closer together as humans? Doesn't that demand a kind of respect? My response to this is yes. The ability to avoid ignorance and become compassionate towards others at any time demands respect. But the other, more inquisitive part of me must answer that question with more questions. How well do you even know the people in your own town? Aren't there reasons why long-distance relationships don't last? And if the purpose of communication becomes to inform others, which unknowing sources would you trust? You see, I think that cross-continental communication has two major flaws. One, I personally found that it prolongs and amplifies the pain of missing distant loved ones. Two, the internet as an information highway is full of bad sources and unethical intentions. Sometimes people are so starved for truth that they keep from questioning the validity of their information only for the sake of living vicariously through it. But there are worse aspects about unquestioned technology to discuss. The greatest fear I have about technology when accompanied by speed is that it will someday replace human greatness with mediocrity. The span between those who believe in genetic progress and those who hate or fear it is widening with every breath of God-like curiosity we inherit. And if you don't understand, I am referring to cloning and genetic engineering when too many people accept the weighted sacks of God. And the day we introduce something which could be widely considered to be greater than ourselves is the day we stop striving to transcend mediocrity in the name of human greatness. And human greatness without arrogance empowers the masses with belief that anything is possible and hope is valid. Without this equation, who will our heroes be? Who will fill our history books? I believe that at the rate of ignorance about who we are as a society, thought and the initiative to stop progressing might invent itself too late. But I believe this would only come into fruition if we discounted the power that we've allowed technology to have and blindly plunged through each decade with an amount of speed unsatisfied. If we realize the preposterity of comforting ourselves before we improve that which we comfort, the opportunity to stop in men's society might present itself, giving great evaluation to the elements of competition, luxury, power, dogma, and speed. I refuse to tell my children that I never once addressed the obstacle of a population unknowingly appeased by a demented contentment. Masses upon masses of those who do not inhabit their time with happiness, but rather allow things to occupy their time for the purpose of bringing them joy. I don't truly believe that our whole world would ever succumb to such a stage, but I would surely cry for those who found their lives at such a point. Living and experiencing each other and ourselves is much too great of a time to squander on trivial concerns and anxieties. And many times I must remind myself to see a world with a view of patience and compassion, to understand beauty without comparison, conversation without exaggeration, beliefs without absolution, and a sense of rest upon my daily obligations and diligence. Perhaps that makes me odd, liberal, hippie, artsy, irresponsible, but if you should disagree, don't those titles make it easier to get on with your day without worrying about whether or not you fit into the genre I've been speaking of? A diversity in opinions about these opinions is to be expected. That is why I respect outside views by assuming no vanity or absolution about my hypothesis, as any unmoving belief tends to conflict with outside concerns which threaten it. Many men so unmovably believe in their beliefs that their absolution overshadows their integrity. Even on a flip situation, should I submit to all which I believe with absolution and condemn or ostracize others rather than accept them for what they are? Fuck. Should I vandalize property in the defiance of capitalism and cause people to struggle in their own walk of life when my disagreement with competition is that I feel it makes people unnecessarily struggle? And when this essay ends, will you hold strong to your joys for telephones, cars, and technological advancements, knowing that people are filled with an anxious competition which evolves into disconnection? My hesitance about technology is not only an advancement and luxury. My fear is rooted within the way these things tend to negatively affect our humanity and yet go unaddressed. The way it affects our values, morals, behaviors, healths, and predetermination of an earth we will never live to see. I question my growing world intensely, but only from a stance of what I see and what I take to be true. I believe it is possible that civilization has made us uncivilized. We are so capable of treating each other so well, so similar inside, so unpracticing in how connected we truly are, and yet we have named our evolved social behavior with an elitist title of civilization, while those which we have defined as being primitive and uncivilized, such as native aboriginals who claim to have no need for telephones, are possibly more advanced than the civilized world. Aboriginals also do not get cancer. They are medically observed for this reason. Is it possible to suggest that humanity in its primitive state is subject to an understanding of itself, and thereby exists with the smallest amount of pain? Without luxury, there exists no greed, competitiveness, or inferiority. With an education system, there exists elitism and misconceptions of wisdom. Without beautification, there exists no vanity or ugliness. Without speed, there exists no danger or violent presence. Without unnatural flavors or fats, there exists no cancers or gluttonies. Without physical work, there exists seclusion and deterioration of mind and body. Without connection, there exists no compassion. Without compassion, there exists numbness or violence. Within numbness, our souls do not grow, and when we cease to be that which we have become, that which we were before would remain unchanged, and the pain undergone and energy used to maintain our existence would have taken place without purpose. And of course, within violence, there exists much pain. Now, if you should agree with me, how will you begin your tomorrow? How will you rise to surpass your former self? If you are thinking about how to change what is suggested as needing change, then this paper has served its purpose. This paper was not written for notoriety, as you will find, and the reason is that copywriting, as well as any form of vanity, invents the initiative to create on the grounds of ego. Copywriting also assumes to say that no one has ever had these thoughts or ideas. People then begin to observe history in search of what has already been accomplished, so that they may become valid or famous in manifesting that which has never been discovered. The irony about this continuous pendulum is that people who succeed in this pattern will only become famous and result in eventually becoming old. One day it will be their name in a book, and someone will be calling them unoriginal. So as you hopefully see, the pursuit of individual glory does not consider anything more than pride, and places the well-being of others by ending the cycle on the back burner. I admit my radical belief sounds quite anti-Ayn Rand and communistic. The only difference is that communism doesn't accentuate how beautiful we all are and how important individualism can be. Without the individual, there is too much mediocrity and too much monotony tends to pave a path for dictatorship. All which I have said, I find to be true from what I have learned from myself, my surrounding others, my experiences, and many works of literature. All that I will reveal is that I am quite young and quite hopeful of what opportunities may befall my time. This paper is just the beginning of what I feel, know, believe, and respect. The topics I choose to extend upon are only what I find to be the most important. My greatest hope is that many people will agree with what I have to say and do it themselves. Paint it, write it, perform it, spread it, plagiarize the fucking hell out of it or any idea you yourself have found and feel is important, and do it without profit or notoriety. Through selflessness there comes fulfillment of yourself and the empowerment of others. I challenge you to smile at people in your car and on the street, and to look them in the eyes when you do it, to evaluate the importance of being first, to be helpful to someone who seems to need it, and to truly admire or strive towards those who conduct their lives with the least amount or absence of violence. By these daily challenges, perhaps we may slowly creep away from the deplored path without exhausting ourselves in the pursuit away from it, in our pursuit of integrity, compassion, and a pride without the self. a pride which might pursue a new kind of civilization. A girl was adrift in the city of angels when the city was drifting too, and the consequence of a life gone wrong is the thing I'm telling you. It was August 3rd, back in '98, when the rain came down in spears, and a girl I saw was dead that month on the hottest night of the year. Full of Venus-born diseases because her thighs were wearing thin, and the pigment in her eyes was gone with the dose of heroin. Seems she stole the sheets from the Motel 6 where the grassy lot was by, where upon those sheets there she stayed asleep as she breathed her last goodbye, and her skin was tinted with a street light, and her skin was stained with a street light tint and the color of half and half, and her legs were prized by the men she survived with the bruises on her calves. Her frail head back on the stark white sheets where the weeds could mourn her sins, and all frizzed and thin on the dried out grass, her hair blew like birds in the wind. Still the city ran on with its sounds at night, in its opus of blaring horns, with the reverb squeaks of the dying trucks and the clacking shoes of whores. I can see her now when I see those girls leaning in by the windows of cars, unaware of their drifting Los Angeles, the city of angels and stars.
I can cry till victory, I'll cry to the might, cry until I die, or at least until the sunrise. When honesty is popular as a plague, comes to remind me that the dead's winning the race with me. Right down the street, a prostitute is selling the closest thing to love that this country has to offer. And America still sleeps tonight, and the world still sleeps tonight. So we fought for the Republic while a Catholic sun filled every eye. From the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean, we drank to the mighty. We died for oil, died for borders, killed for democracy, still believed every platform. Can you handle the death, except what we create together? I still know every politician is a fucking monster. Culture kills bureaucrats and other undesirables. History said we died for freedom, but today no justice was served, and America still sleeps tonight, and the world still sleeps tonight. So we boasted that we were still champions, that we are still champions. Each country singing its own praise. Like a rock thrown into the ocean, humanity was rising to the top. 2 world wars later, countless military interventions, we erect monuments to history and give apologies to the dead. All that was fought for the living is quickly forgotten. We don't remember the dates, we don't remember the reasons, we have no idea what's going on, building histories of Western corporations, Western imperialism, Western colonialism. It doesn't even turn my stomach to see the pictures of atrocities anymore, of dead human bodies, going numb in the new order of the new century. And America still sleeps tonight, and the world still sleeps tonight.
As you wanted, go and help. On the railway carriage wall stepped the poster, and I thought of the hands that penned the call. Fat civilians wishing they could go and fight the Hun. Can't you see them thanking God they're over 41? Lads you wanted over there, shiver in the morning dew. 4 more devils like yourself waiting to be killed by you. Go to help to swell the names in the casualty list. Help to make a column stuck for the blasted journalists. Help to keep them nice and safe from the wicked German foe. Don't let them come over here, lads you're wanted, out you go. There's a better word than that, lads, can't you hear it come? From a million men that call you to share their martyrdom. Leave the harlots still to sing comic songs about the Hun. Leave the fat old men to say, now we've got them on the run. Better 20 honest years than their dull 70. Lads you're wanted, come and learn to live and die with honest men. You shall learn what men can do if you will but pay the price. Learn the gaiety and strength and the gallant sacrifice. Take your risk of life and death underneath the open sky. Live clean or go out quick. Lads you wanted, come and die. I thought that was
Is there like another word that rhymes with self, Michelle? Help. But I'm still waking up, and I'm still putting on my makeup, and I'm still making up, taking up, and breaking up. All this stuff is really tragic. So I want to wake up and put on a little makeup, and blah, 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 blah.